Skender. About a year before he passed on, he said something to me that was very profound. And what he said is that he finally, after all these years of working, he's found that state of ananda in himself, that spiritual state of happiness, of bliss, of a oneness with life, living with the ability to transform tension into joy and love, compassion, and highest levels of what it means to be human. And he said something very interesting. He said, I won't mention name, my teacher can take everything he wants away from me. And he was taking everything from Rudy. But the one thing he won't be able to take away is the love that's in my heart, the joy, the bliss that I have found, the happiness I found in doing God's work in the world. And, when he told me that, it really was so profound and so deep. And yet I was a young kid. I didn't quite understand what he was talking about. It only began to come into place years later, where that teaching took root inside me, and I began to realize that happy people are enlightened people. And nobody can take that away from them. No matter what happens in the world, what goes on, what kind of nonsense people do in our lives, if we have a heart that's open, if we have that love, it can't be taken away, because it really enables us to be a child of God living in the world. So Rudy, right before his samadhi, became child of God. He said he worked years and years to be able to do this. And I'll never forget, he said, he can have everything he can have, but he can't take this away from me, because this is something that I offer to God, to higher energy, and it's something that really has to do with spiritual evolution and growth. And when you finally attain it, doesn't matter what drama is going on in the world, what soap opera is being lived around one or in the world, that openness of the heart, that love, that happiness, the ananda, it's there. And this work that we do is about attaining that, not in our minds or, putting some false cloak of ananda or bliss or, kind of spiritual bullshit around ourselves, but organically living it. It becomes a living reality of how we function every day. And I think it's something incredible to aim for, because it's the greatest treasure on earth. No amount of money can provide that. No amount of, things we buy and possess, and, our careers, they can't provide that. That's something that's so deeply embedded in the human soul, that we are born on the earth to learn how to shed, to surrender all of that crud that surrounds it, so we can get to the core of our being and to be able to live with open hearts and to live with love. He also said another thing to me that I never forgot. I was sitting in the back of his apartment, and he came over and he sat down next to me. And this is after he had that split with his spiritual teacher, and I won't mention names. And he said to me, Stuart, ultimately, we're all in this alone. We all have to face our samadhi alone. And all of life is a preparation for this, to embrace God, to embrace spirit with an open heart, with love. with a oneness with the universe, and not all of this conflict inside that separates us, from higher energy in the universe, but a oneness with love. And ultimately, it's the training we get, it's the work we do in our lifetime that determines that moment. I mean, there were so many profound teachings I got from Rudy, things that come up all the time that I'd forgotten, and all of a sudden, boom, this thing comes up. And it really is a thing that was right for the particular moment in which it comes up. Because I tell you frankly, I don't think I ever listened with my mind or my ears to one of the talks that he ever gave. I was sitting there just taking in the Shakti, taking it. And it didn't matter what he said. He could have been fighting with his mother. He could have been arguing, telling me about his past relationships. It was all Shakti to me. I just kept taking in the Shakti. So it never mattered to me what he was talking about. What mattered to me was this was my teacher, and he transmits Shakti no matter what he does. And I just have to open and respect it and be there to receive it and to allow it to help change my life. And it was always powerful, no matter what he talked about, it was always powerful. But I don't think I ever listened, intellectually to one of his talks, analyzed them, figured them out. Just open. And every day of my life, every one of his talks, manifest exactly when I need them. They're all inside me. Does anyone have a question they would like to ask? I hope it's clear what I'm talking about. I mean, what we do is real, It's not just an adult education course you take somewhere, in some college in psychology and yoga. And then this is very real. This is very real transmission of God's energy, the purpose of which is to build each and every one of us so that when that day of samadhi comes, we just gingerly step into the universe and embrace higher energy. Does anyone have a question they would like to?
I have a question, Stuart.
Yes.
Could you speak about how how meditation burns karma? Um, I've noticed through the years I've been meditating, and especially now I'm meditating a bit extra than usual. And I've noticed that it seems like what I'm doing, yes, it's burning karma, but at the same time, I feel like there's some, I don't know, more karma coming up to be reviewed, like karma packets being released.
You have UPS, cosmic UPSs will deliver a lot of packages to you as you go deep inside yourself. I mean it. There's a lot there, Allie.
Yeah.
And there's a lot to burn up. There's a lot to get free of. There's a lot that will manifest in your life, which is your karma. And, you can't think that once you get over one hump, there's not going to be another one. And there's nothing wrong with that because each one of these experiences makes you work on yourself. And I hate to say it, we need them. We need to be reminded we're a bunch of schmucks.
Yes.
We need it. And karma reminds us. It's a good buddy. It's always reminding us we got more work to do on ourselves. So instead of battling with it, just open and embrace it and do the work. And you suddenly, the chakra system stays open, the heart stays open, their ability to see what's real in the world, gets very refined and very profound. And, it just all changes, but there will always be the cosmic UPS delivering some kind of package to you that you're going to have to deal with always. Now, it's whether you deal with it by getting in the ring and slugging it out,
Yeah.
or just open your heart and say, thanks for giving me another package that is teaching me how to grow in my life. But there will always be that till the moment we leave the world, there'll always be something. And I think we are literally born here to learn how to do this, how to transform suffering and difficulty into joy and love. That's why we're born on the earth. The soul comes here to learn how to do this. So instead of complaining about all the difficulties, be grateful for them, that they teach you to go deeper, because the only way you can possibly, deal with those difficulties is you got to go deep enough inside yourself and closer to God to be able to get the answers that resolve the situations.
I'm grateful to see it. So
To what?
I'm grateful to see it, that I'm aware of it. And so I think because of meditation, I'm more aware of it. So
Well, that, Hallie, is the first step.
yeah,
You
thank
got to
you.
know the enemy to fight the war,
Right.
It's very hard to fight a war if you don't know who you're fighting. So you got to know the enemy. You got to know what the problems are, and they manifest as you go deeper into yourself, and they give you the ability to be able to deal with them.
Thank you.
And there's nothing wrong with that. Why fight with the obvious? You understand? Why struggle against why not embrace it and say, teach me. Teach me what I need to do to go deep. And you're going deeper, Hal. You've grown so much since you started doing this with me. I really mean it. Sometimes I don't even recognize you, You're such a changed person. So
Yeah,
don't let anything interfere with that. You've grown a great deal and you'll continue to grow.
thank you.
Does anyone else have a question they would like to ask? Okay, if there are no more questions, God bless you all. Thank you. There are people coming here, and like, I don't, well, most of you live a million miles from here, but if anybody lives closer and you want to come to classes, there'll be one on Wednesday, and, I think it's at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, another one at 4 o'clock. I'm going to be having classes. I'm going to be like a juggler in a circus, holding classes here. So there'll be a lot of classes, and if you happen to live in a radius where you can make it here, and you want to attend, you're certainly very welcome. And then Friday night, the retreat starts, and that just people that had signed up, can come. Okay, thank you. God bless you all. And there'll be a meditation on Thursday. There'll be another one tomorrow night, celebration of the Samadhi. If you live, and you don't, if you want an invite to that, let me know. I will send it to you. And God bless you all. And thank you, every one of you, for being in my life and for being part of this. I have a very deep gratitude to all of you. So we'll see you soon.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Stuart.
Stuart.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good night or good afternoon.